I think it might be nice for us to just go into some practice to ground ourselves, and it will be an opportunity for you to also just check in around this topic of like what is particularly interesting to you around this topic. Because I think the best use of our time, especially around something like this, which isn't like a specific teaching on anxiety or shame or fear, it's like we can go in so many directions when it comes to running retreats, from like I have imposter syndrome to like how do you market it? How do you find a retreat center? How many people should it be? What's the difference in experience? Um, how do you hold trauma when you're working with a condensed experience like this? Do you need support or not? Is location important? Should it be inside? Should it be outside? Like there's a lot there. And when I started sketching this out, I was just like, I think it would probably be best to hear from you all. Like, is this something you're thinking about? And if so, like genuinely, where are you in relationship to that? And how can I best support you in maybe bringing this to life? So let's just start by grounding with some practice. One of the things I've been playing with when it comes to setting up your posture in practice is finding a posture that invites more of you to be here. So sometimes I've noticed for myself that if I try to assume a posture that is aligned with an idea in my head of how I should sit, or even a very well-intentioned idea of like structural alignment, it can actually be a form of betraying a communication of my body and what it's asking for, and a form of actually getting in the way of presence being illuminated through the truth of what is here, rather than, what we can sometimes do, which is like skirt around the experience that's here to try to get to the present state. So since you're not a stranger to meditation practice, notice what some of your ideas might already be coming into this when it comes to how you're supposed to sit. I invite you to let some of that go as much as you're able to, and just ask your body, what would feel inviting right now for whatever experience I'm in? Boredom, excitement, fatigue, openness, feeling closed. What posture would allow you to touch that experience a little more intimately, to get a little closer to it? And that does include things like fatigue, right? Instead of, right, I have to sit upright to avoid that, which there could be a time and place for this. Instead, we acknowledge, okay, this is the truth of what's here. Like, how might I touch that, like, deeply? How might I let presence be illuminated through the experience rather than in spite of it? You might find that you lean a little bit to one side, or your arms want to be crossed rather than resting on your lap. But as you give yourself permission to make these micro adjustments, chances are you'll notice this moment where there's just this feeling of, oh, there I am. You can feel more of yourself, more in yourself. And you may even find it easier to breathe, like something opens up. Because we're no longer in opposition to what is here. And along these lines, if at any point in the meditation you find that there's a particular expression that's coming through you that wants to manifest as movement, the hand shaking, the shoulder rolling, maybe even the leg bouncing, the knee bouncing, or just like wiggling around. There's a time for stillness and exploring being with that energy. And there's a time for discharge. And it's almost like a universal truth that we're all just holding a lot after this last year and a half. And I think forcing stillness can sometimes be a subtle form of oppression against the part of us that is trying to release in some way. So there's a lot of permission here for you to let the body take care of itself. Basically, this whole thing is just about getting out of your own way and watching what wants to move through you right now. You get to notice sounds. Right? Watch the nervous system responding to this. Watch the thoughts responding. Right? It's all like discharge of energy, the thoughts, the feeling. The nervous system is jolted, and then that release is just a form of trying to come back into equilibrium. Just because this can be a common experience when we do have something unexpected that arises in our awareness. Like if you do notice an anger over that sound, or even a feeling like, what the F? Like, where did that come from? What was that? Or who was that? Right? One, just notice how the mind gets into that flow. But instead of trying to be a good meditator or even like nice, just see if you could first touch the anger deeply. Like what we touch deeply can be released. And so let yourself be the expression of that, not necessarily fueling it, but just going, oh, this is here, and get in it. And if maybe it was your sound, like notice what comes up for you. Oh, was that me? Is my mic unmuted? Like there could be a feeling of shame or worry or whatever. I'm projecting a bit. But you get to touch that. And so you might just be getting the sense that the orientation of this, like how I'm guiding this meditation, is so that more aspects of you have permission to be felt, seen, experienced. And if there's any part of your experience that feels like it's a bit in the shadows, it's kind of like pulling at the pant leg, you can say to that experience, "You're welcome here too." And it's just this invitation for wholeness and embodiment. And becoming a compassionate mess. And so from this place, now let's invite the awareness, or let's invite the breath into our awareness. I'm just feeling, oh yeah, my body's breathing. But we attune to the breath. We feel the breath, not at the exclusion of anything else. It's as if all aspects of us, all of our body, all of our awareness is feeling the breath in unison. Like, what if your feet were feeling your breath? Your proprioception, the sense of the space around you, what if that was feeling your breath as well? Your fatigue, your joy, your confusion, all of that is observing the breath. So that focusing on the breath isn't a way to get rid of these experiences or ignore them. It's all part of it. It's unifying. I'll ring the bells to close. And again, let it be this full body hearing. So you can start to orient yourself to the idea of opening your eyes when you're ready.